Good evening and welcome back. Now what we're going to be doing in this video is taking this Bachmann Class 66 and giving it the upgraded headlights. I'll show you in a minute what Bachmann give you as standard, but what we're going to do is look at this kit here, which is the Illuminated Models Class 66 upgrade light Type 2. Now the types are only depending on what clusters they give you from standard. So if I turn around and we have a look at the other end, you'll see that there's the two rear lights, and what they give you is they give you the one main headlight. Now the only problem with that is they're meant to have marker lights where the red lights go. So if we go back round this way, so as you can see, you've got two rear lights here, then you've got the two marker lights in the headlight here, as well as the top marker light, which stays the same. So what we do is we look at fitting these two circuit boards, which are here. They're only quite small, they're quite easy to fit. What we do is we look at fitting these two kits into this loco at the other end, so we can get this effect. So what I'm going to do now is just undo the 4 screws which hold the body on, take the body off, and we go from there. So there we go. After that little break, what we've done is undone the 4 bolts or 4 screws, clipped the body off, and then on here pulled the 2 connectors out. So now we're at this stage here where the body's off. So what we're going to start to do is start by disassembling the end in question. So what we want to do first of all is just pull this cab out. I might have to stop it here and get the tripod out. But yeah, what we want to do is take the cab off. Now all it is there's 2 plastic prongs which it sits in. Right, so after a bit of faffing about with a tripod, what we're going to do is just lift that out, put that to one side. Now what Bachmann do is they give you this plastic housing here. Now I'd strongly advise not using it with this kit. So if I just pull it out, pop the circuit board away from it, it's just very tight in there, so it might be worth having a nail and just getting in the back and prising it away. But I'd strongly advise not using this, because all Bachmann have done from the larger style light cluster is just sort of hand drilled them out, and what it does, it affects the intensity of the light coming through the lenses at the front. So what we're going to do is put that to one side, so we're left with this Bachmann board here. So as you can see, the rear lights are on at the moment, and all you get is a single white light for the main marker. So what we're going to do is unsolder all of the back wires, and what we do is we get the kit out ready to swap them over. Now the beauty with these kits is the letters here all correspond to the letters here, but you'll notice that you haven't got letter D, because that's a common positive with C, and you've got letter G. Letter G is the 2 white marker lights. So what you can do is just take a wire to G and connect it to, sort of say, either tab A on the board. So without further ado, I'll get on with that, and what I'll do is I'll come back when all the wires are taken off and the new ones are tinned, ready to swap them over. Right, so all I've done is I've just tweaked the camera. As you can see, all the wires have now been unsoldered. Don't worry about getting the colour codes and the letters correct, because if you actually notice, Bachmann give you the letters there according to all the different colours, so you can just follow the cable down and solder it to the correct pad. Oh. So if we take a look at the board that come off it, all you've got is 1 white and 2 red LEDs. So it's quite a simple board. Whereas if we look at this one now, you've got 2 whites for your night and day running. you've got 2 whites here for your markers and you've got 2 reds. So there's a total of 6 LEDs all on there. So now what we're going to do is wire up A, C, G, F and B. We're not going to do the night running light, but like I said, D on here you can sort of disregard, it's no longer needed, but you can use the wire for G, which is your white marker lights, which will be connected to the A tab on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead, wire this in, and I'll show you it once it's wired in. So just a little update on what's going on. I've removed the wire connected to D. We use that later for the markers. So all I've done is just got a simple old-fashioned clamp the light on, and just with these fine pair of tweezers just fed the wires near it and just lightly melted the solder just enough so it melts in, secures the wires in place. So then what we do is we connect the last wire, which is this G, which is this blue wire, which will go from G to the C terminal there, and we just give it a quick little test and see what happens. So yet again, that's all in now, all wired in place. A little correction after reading these instructions, there was a little mistake. It's not you wire the blue wire to C, you actually wire it to E. Now that's explained obviously in the instructions, depending on which configuration you're after as to what tab goes where. So now what we do is we give it a quick little test. So if I turn the lights on first, straight away you've got the 2 inner white lights, which are the marker lights, and the outer one, which is your main headlight. And there you go, you've got your 2 rears. So now, like I said earlier, you want to get rid of this Bachmann drilled out hole. And what you want to try and do is, with a bit of blue tack, you just want to stop any light bleed. So all you do is get a bit of blue tack, roll it up even finer than this, so you want to halve that again, just roll it out a little bit using these fine tweezers again. I mean, these really do come in handy. You can just sort of chop bits which you need and want, and then all we're going to do is just put them in between the 2 LEDs there and that white LED there. So it's a bit fiddly, but once you get it, it gives a much better result. So like that's in there like so. What we do is we use the other half just to put on the other side. Although we're not using that night running light, just stops the light bleed coming through the light lens. So it's the little attentions to detail which really do make this kit worth it. Just make sure you're not covering the lights. Then what you want to do is just bury that down into the, call it the chassis well, like so. Just give it a bit of a fixing point. Then what we do is we just test it, make sure it's all working right. So yeah, that's all working right. Now what you want to do is, to secure it in place, just get a little dab of super glue, just an ever so slight little dab on top, then leave that for 5-10 minutes just to set completely before putting the cab back in and reassembling it. So that's to conclude. Obviously what I've done since the last video was leave it to dry for about 5 minutes, and then put the cab back in, and then just assembled the body back on. But as you can see, the lights look much better now, and if we change direction with the reds as well, really does enhance the model, make it look much more realistic. But yeah, like I said, these kits are available on our website. They're £8.50 a kit. Really do enhance the model, easy to fit. And if you've got any questions, either drop us a comment below or email us and we'll try our best to answer the question for you. Thanks a lot, bye bye.